Hey guys, it's Josh from Gym Direct, and today we're chatting with Scott Kennedy, the Director of Programming for the entire C3 network. We discuss their training principles, how to create the best gym culture, and of course, how they separate themselves from the competition. Welcome to Behind the Brand. Hi guys, it's Josh from Gym Direct, and I'm here with Scott Kennedy, the Director of the Programming within C3 Network. Thanks so much for sitting down and spending time with us. Before we start, I want to say, obviously you can see in the background, the gym here is fantastic, clean, aesthetic looking. There's so much I want to ask you about the gym. Before we get there, I want to know about the beginning for C3, how you guys got to here, and just tell us about the early days.
Yeah, so started in Feb 2020, opened up from previous to that, I was a PT. I still did PT for 16 years or so, and kind of just wanted to really grow as an individual. I was doing 60 plus sessions a week and running myself down into the ground, and I was like, what way can I get in front of more people in a shorter time? And the whole functional fitness kind of realm kind of really spoke to me from my years of football and all that kind of stuff, and it was just something that looked like the right fit for me, and then ventured into that. 6 weeks into our opening, COVID happened, so our first lockdown, which was very interesting. It resorted to us, well, to begin with, we opened with about 220 members, so it was fantastic. Right. Opened up such a good community straight away within 6 weeks. We were cheering, and yeah, lockdown happened obviously, and then we ended up renting all the equipment that we had to our members just to keep afloat. I was doing online sessions, PT in the park, numerous stuff like that, so just to get by. Reopened again, and then happened again, and hustled again.
God, it's crazy times.
Crazy
but you
times.
survived it. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
That's right. And probably thriving now as well within the network.
We're going well.
So,
Yeah.
You're also an owner within the C3 as well.
Yep. So owner of the whole network.
Yeah, right. So I'd love to know about the name. So I'm always curious how certain businesses and franchises come up with the name. Is there a meaning behind the name?
Community coaching care.
Yeah.
Is the big ones that we really push towards. Community aspect within each facility is going to be different. It's going to be based on the individual facilities, but that's our big kind of thing there. The coaching side, yes, definitely the big part from a coach standpoint is that I need to have that high level of coaching aspect, and then what falls onto that is the care factor. Like, you've got to care about your job to be a coach. You're dealing with people's lives here,
for sure.
So it's big for that. So that's what really spoke to me about the name.
Okay. So I'll touch on the community aspect. Is there anything you guys are doing in particular to foster and make sure that community is strong?
Multiple events, I think, is one thing we've done. We've done a lot of charity events within the years that we've been open, and also for some members that an event or a charity really speaks to. So we had Braving Breast Cancer Awareness. Was a couple of years ago. We had a member that had breast cancer, so we supported her charity that she opted into, and kind of went along with a big charity event there. One of my other coaches is a disability support worker, so big on the that whole kind of scene. So we did a big drive for the charity event there, and that kind of stuff. Multiple events, other events per year. Like, we go out for end of block season kind of drinks. We have Christmas parties. We celebrate each and everyone's birthday. Awesome. So when they're here, we give them their birthday burpees.
Yeah, not a cake.
Not a cake. So that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But look, each facility is different with that. Like, of an afternoon on a Friday, we do a TGIF session here, which is, thank God it's Friday, and it's just anyone who wants to come in. We do like a big sweaty sesh, and then we just either go down for a feed at the local pub down the road, or whatever, just hang around afterwards.
So good to hear as well. So I'll take a step back. So we've talked about the community from a network point of view. Obviously, you're one of the senior members here. What do you do to make sure that, because obviously you're national as well, C3, which is awesome. There's that growth, especially when you started back during COVID. What do you guys do to make sure that the franchises aren't competing against each other to harness the network within the franchise owners?
Well, back on kind of events, that kind of stuff, we hold a lot of multi-locational events as well. So we had what was known as the Battle of the Burbs this year, where we got multiple teams from other facilities. I mean, we're not big on the whole, competing against each other thing, but once or twice per year.
A little bit of fun.
A little bit of fun. And it is. It ends up being fun for the day. It can get competitive at times, but that's what I kind of like to drive. A lot of, they're competing against themselves more so. So we have multiple kind of events per year. We had the Battle of the Burbs earlier this year, and then we just recently finished our second C3 games, in which you hold different events, and that was held at one of our other facilities and that. So that kind of, gets everyone seeing each other again. The coaches kind of get together, creating the workouts, that kind of stuff. So it's still kind of, and then like across all of that comes, just making sure the programming is all the same and everyone has feedback based on the programming. So it is, hey, this works well at this facility. Oh, this didn't work well here. So I take all that kind of feedback on board and mold it if I can.
Yeah, fair enough. New member,
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, this is the gym mascot. Cable, he can go back to bed.
I guess talking from that high level point of view, so I speak to a lot of gym owners as well but a lot of their time obviously goes into programming. So I've done it myself. It can be extremely time consuming, especially if you're, that's just one gym, but you're doing it for a whole network. How do you program and execute that week to week?
I think coming from, I've been in the industry for a long time. I've seen what works, I've seen what doesn't work, and I kind of take all that into account, and I try to be ahead of the time so I can test these workouts prior to them getting released. I'm a year ahead already in a lot of my programming for even the start of next year about what I want to see with it. So I take really high kind of regard with my programming, and it's my first and foremost. It's my job in the industry, in the facilities, to make sure that it is properly working. It's hard from an aspect of the best program in the world could work for one or two individuals, but based on a whole group working with 18 to almost 36 people in one class can be hard as well. So understanding the logistics of that plays a big part in how I program. Sure. I've got to make sure that, these people working at this time, these people working over here, there's a lot of running in the room. And people don't realize when it comes down to programming is you're not just programming for one person. It's not a PT session, it's group within a PT session kind of thing.
Right, okay.
Kind of thing.
It's funny, like you talk about like that seniority. You obviously care about the brand, you care about the people within it. I guess things that I see is that sometimes franchises can go very quickly. They have the wrong people involved. How does C3, and that's one thing I want to stress, is that meeting you guys, it's care to the little things. Like before we even did this interview, there was a call saying, hey, what's the best way we can go about this? It's making sure that all bases are covered. How do you guys make sure that you're having the right people come on as franchise owners and not just money grabbers?
Well, I think the big one is 3 or 4 of my franchisees are actually my old coaches.
Yeah, okay.
So one of my head coaches from here has just opened up her first facility in Kensington. One of my best friends who used to be a coach here and used to work with here owns Queensland now. So it's just come from that organic kind of nature of seeing how it works in person and then wanting to develop themselves.
Yeah, right, okay. Is there something you're looking for in the person, whether it be a coach or the franchise owner, that you're like, they fit our mold, we meet them?
I definitely think having a really good, strong idea of the fitness industry, being an owner, operator would be my most ideal franchisee, someone that's willing to put the hours into the facility just as much as they are working in it, outside of it, kind of thing. So definitely being a coach. That's, I think, what helps with a lot of the members. They see, hey, you're the owner. Oh, they see here week in, week out, day in, day out, every session. Like I train with the members here. I don't train by myself. I'm no better than them. I do the same programming that they do. So they see that, and I think that can kind of go a long way.
Yeah, right, okay. I have to ask about the equipment. So obviously, like the aesthetic means so much. From, I guess, the franchise model that you guys are going for, we're starting to see a lot of gyms replicate potentially the C3 model. How are you finding that in the industry, like from a competition point of view?
I think equipment is equipment, but I think it really comes down to the coaching aspect and the community aspect of that. I'm trying to find coaches that really care about who are they coaching and the members themselves more so than it's just a job for them. And I think if once realize that someone is a coach that cares and it's more than a job to them, that can go a long way.
Right, okay.
And I think that's what kind of gives us the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
In that my, I guess, the main aspect I'm wanting for is the experience of the member. So when they walk in, they've either learned something brand new that they haven't learned before, they've learned a better cue that works well for them, or they've just left feeling successful.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is part of what my PT kind of background was. I'd always want members or my clients to leave successful, never kind of leaving fouled. So if they've done something, they're like, yeah, but you didn't have this weight before. So that kind of thing. So it's a success feeling, and they just want to come back for more.
Okay, well, it's obviously important to hear that. From the equipment point of view, how have you found, because obviously you guys have been a customer of us for like a few years now, how have you found the equipment? How have your clients found using your equipment?
Yeah, great. Look, reliable source. When the product's shipped, it's definitely shipped. It gets there within, days or so. Communication has always been there. So yeah, we love to support local businesses just as we are a local business. So what better way?
For sure, I appreciate that. I guess I want to sort of flip the script and sort of look at the industry a little bit lighthearted now. You've been in the industry a long time. What's sort of the silliest thing that you've seen, whether it be a nutrition plan or just some exercise that's popped up and you're like, that doesn't make any sense?
Oh.
There's been some funny ones, especially on Instagram. Is there anything that's gone, where are we heading with this industry?
Yeah, look, there is. I do see a lot within, I never bash or never talk bad about other brands. I think they're all.
It's also like an exercise, someone doing a squat on a Bosu ball or something like that.
Yeah, look, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Look, it may have its place. Sometimes I kind of, I'm never really quick to judge sometimes because they may have their reason, and if they have a reason behind it that suits that individual, then it could go a long way like that. That's why, never kind of really like, there's more to, there potentially could be more to that than what it is.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, there's definitely been some exercises that I've tried in the past and I've like, look, that doesn't work, I'm gonna scrap that. So I don't know. Yeah, tough.
No, it definitely is.
Threw me on the ball there.
I want to talk about you. So obviously we've talked about the brand. I want to talk about Scott, the person outside the gym. So your members might see you for maybe an hour a day.
Yep.
What do you do to keep yourself mentally level, nutrition, training? You spoke about you train with the members as well.
Yeah.
What do you do outside of the gym that makes you the best version of yourself in the yard?
I spend time with my dog. You might have just saw a moment ago. I spend a lot of time with him. He comes with me everywhere I go, just about. So we're never without each other. I play golf on weekends. I love my golf.
Handicap?
Handicap of 17 at the moment.
Yeah, it's the best
not
spot.
too bad.
It's the best spot to be. It's fun golf. Yeah.
Anything less than that, it gets too hard.
Yeah.
Outside of that, just like hanging with mates and funny enough, a lot of my mates are actually my members these days. So
makes it easy to train.
Yeah, easy to train, easy to have fun with. Outside of that, I know I like my movies, I like my comedy, that kind of stuff. I love watching movies and just cool. Yeah, pretty laid back.
Yeah, that's the best way to be.
Yeah.
So, the growth moving forward for C3, I mean, it's exciting that you guys have got such a strong bedrock, and that's something that I've noticed. So, well done to you guys.
Thank you.
Where does the next 5 to 10 years look for C3? Are we talking growth, bigger locations, or more gym?
Well, I definitely think our growth this year has kind of gone past what our goals were. We've doubled that almost, I would say, in a sense. So next year can only get better for us. All our growth at the moment has been organic, like we kind of mentioned. So when we actually put the right systems in place to maybe go a bit further, who knows what can happen with us. We're going so well at the moment with the ones we have. And the exciting kind of ones to come are only going to get better from there. In terms of space, I think the ideal scenario is something like this. Would be ideal to replicate multiple facilities. Yep. We've got sort of a few smaller ones and a few bigger ones. It just depends on the location, the member base there as well.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Another kind of logistical kind of thing that would come into it that people don't realise.
Of course.
Yeah.
So when you look at, obviously, you've got the space. Are you deliberately putting, like, if we like everyone can see what we've got here? Are you deliberately putting items in certain spots? Is that something that you want to replicate moving forward?
Yeah. So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to a setup of a day. Benches come out for bench press. Hip thrust pads come out for the hip thrust. A lot of the ergs, like the ski ergs behind me, they stay there centrally because as both multiple classes we have running at the same time, or 2 classes we have running at the same time sometimes, so they would use on and off those same machines, so it makes it easy. If a session has the bike ergs, which are down the front, they would be then moved down here, and vice versa. So yes, moving parts, but the big one is space. Yeah. Space for people to move. People can get really congested, and they can feel like a space like this, and if it had so much parts that were staying there, they would feel like, oh, it's too small for me, when in actual fact it's not. It's just how we utilize the space.
For sure.
So that's probably the big one. Having a lot more open space on the floor for people to feel comfortable and move well.
Yeah, which is, I guess, is important because again, like the aesthetic is sort of everything. When you look at the last years that you've had, obviously COVID was a terrible time for everybody, and that's why I'm always so grateful for people that went through it, like yourselves, that you're still here on the other side. Like not everyone got through it, unfortunately. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned since starting C3? You know, from the whole team, from higher up to low, like the biggest lesson that you guys have learned in that time.
Well, I think it's just having confidence in our product. Is the big one. Like we opened up our second facility, like literally the day after we were allowed to open for lockdown. Right. So we had it all in place, ready to go, and we just had confidence it was going to work. And I think if everyone gets behind and backs the product, it can go a long, long way.
For sure. Okay. How important is systems within the C3 network?
I think without systems, it would just turn to nothing. Everyone has their role within the business. So my role obviously is the programming, the coaching aspect, that kind of stuff. Everyone else has their role in terms of franchising, the agreements, this side, the equipments, the logistics of facility to facility. So as long as everyone kind of stays within their role and then also has confidence in the other person's roles, then we work as one and it works well.
Of course. We talk about, so obviously this thing is called, GD behind the brand. How important of it is the entire gym to be exactly what C3 is? Like I went into your toilets before, my God. Well done on that. Probably the worst spot that could be in the gym is probably one of, like, if not just as good as the floor. Like, and you've got the infrared sauna in there as well. I mean, how important is it to have that sort of structure across the whole thing?
It's the first experience. As soon as someone walks in, you may see out the front it's a warehouse kind of vibe, but inside you think it's a bit of more of a boutique kind of style. So a bit rustic, but yet really like well looked after. So I think that first experience is what will get someone in, and then behind that comes the product and that. So yeah, definitely the first experience.
For sure.
The looks, for sure.
Okay, so Scott, we're going to do the GD3 now. So just 3 quick questions. Who is C3 targeted to? Are we looking at certain type of training style? Like, who would be suited for in here?
I think anyone that just wants some overall fitness, some overall general conditioning. Look, we do a lot of workouts that, for example, high rock seems to be such a big thing these days. And funny enough, we don't do much anything really different than some of the high rock stuff. Like we do a lot of wall balls, we do a lot of conditioning work. Running probably would be another big component I would probably add if high rocks was becoming a bit more prominent for us. Right. So we target those people that want to be all-rounders, good at anything. Right. Even like some athletes have come in here from soccer, from football these days, and they'll do this as their additional kind of strength work. I've got golfers that come in here and that kind of stuff, so that's always a bonus as well. But yeah, it's just general strength conditioning, make people feel good.
Yeah, for sure. We spoke quickly about, so the second question I asked, we spoke about the, I guess, career progression within C3, which isn't common within the industry. Usually a PT or you're the owner. So to hear that, what if someone wants to come off the street and they can breathe C3, what would be the career ladder that they would be working through from PT or member to franchise owner?
Definitely. Well, so a lot of my coaches have actually been members previously. They've loved it so much that they've just kind of want to continue on. And I said, look, if you really want to, you're a people pleaser, you're really good with the community. What better way to become and start working? They already know the workouts and already know how I write the workouts, how the system runs. So it's a very easy transition. If someone wanted to come in from there and wasn't quite kind of confident in themselves, that's my job. That's my job to help them become confident in themselves. Give them the structures needed to become a good coach. I've been in the industry for a long period of time that I can tell, what kind of different hats to put on when it comes to a class, whether they need a bit more of a motivator. So there goes my cheerleading hat coming on. Whether they need a bit more of a technical coach, then that comes out a lot more. So I'm a bit more of a technical kind of coach myself. So I pride myself on that kind of style, whereas I have others that are a bit more of that go, go, go kind of style. And I think there's points in time of what's good. I definitely think being a people person is the number one. You've just got to have a rapport with someone. You've got to have a good chat with someone and make them feel comfortable to then let them feel the experience that we do have. when it comes to training.
I would love to hear. Last question I'll ask is around mental health. It's a huge thing at the moment, and a lot of people, their gyms are their saviours.
Yeah, absolutely.
From, I guess, a network point of view, from the head down, what do you guys do to look after, your coaches, your franchise owners, and most importantly, the members?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're doing, or do you have awareness? Do you pull them aside? And
I
say,
think definitely from lockdown, we realised that mental health was such a big part, and training was such a big part for people's mental health. So we kind of capitalise and continue on that with just having people continue to train. Someone hasn't been turning out for a week, it's always a check-in for me, or like, hey, where have you been? Or like, is everything okay? All that kind of stuff. I'm always checking in with my coaches, seeing if they're okay, if they need any further education or that kind of stuff, or time off, that kind of stuff. It's always a big part, because if they're in a bad way or that kind of stuff, then it's not going to do them any favours, and not going to do me any favours. So it might as well, it'd be good to look after them in the first place.
Beautiful. Look, I appreciate your time as well. This has been awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing the future of C3 as well. So thank you again for your time, Scott, and
so much.
I'm looking forward to seeing the future.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
Cool.
thanks so much.